Good evening, everyone. I'm going to do a quick, I didn't have a slideshow prepared. So you're going to get what you're going to get, which is me doing a live. I'm going to draw the way that the BioTrack universe works. BioTrack is a compliance reporting system that's used by a number of different states in the United States for the cannabis compliance reporting. So cannabis farmers in states that are managed by a BioTrack-based system, New York and Florida, New Mexico, Illinois, Puerto Rico. I can't remember everywhere off the top of my head, but it's on the internet. Uh, they have a centralized system. So all the data goes into a centralized system. I guess let's start drawing that thing, and let's pick red for the centralized system. Why not? And it goes in the middle. So this is our centralized system. I'll try to put the letter B in there so we all know that that's like sort of the BioTrack centralized compliance reporting system. It's a database. It's a database with an API. It's a database that has applications that use that API to put data into that system. We'll draw a little bit more of a picture around that. This BioTrack system is sort of co-owned and co-managed by some government agency that would be using the BioTrack system. The licensees put all of their data into BioTrack, and BioTrack was a vendor for this service that was selected by the government. That shit might be too noisy. Was selected by the government. They put out an RFP. People respond to the RFP. Companies respond to the RFP. BioTrack gets that one. Ugh. So then, now we have licensees who are involved in this whole process as well. So down here we have some licensee, and actually there's a bunch of licensees that are involved in this whole universe. And then we'll put 3 of them in here to make my life very, very easy. Good for showing examples. Now each of these licensees, letter L here, any of those things, those could be a grower, those could be a processor, they could be a combination grower and processor, they could be a retailer. Depends on the classification of licensees that the state regulators have decided they want to have. So in some places, very, very simple. You can grow, you can process, you can sell. Some places, more complicated. BioTrack's not the one that runs the state of California. That's Metric. We'll be doing another one of these about Metric in a little while. But the state of California has some ridiculous amount of licenses, like 17 different types or something very silly like this, and initially, for example, Washington State, which started off with BioTrack way back in 2014, had a grower, processor, grower and processor together, and then retail. And then sort of later on, the system was expanded and offered a third-party transport type of license. There's a laboratory license type of license. Other places have waste management, blah, blah, blah. Whatever. Your license determines what you get to do. And so, for example, let's pick on New Mexico at the moment. There's a state web portal. So this red circle here, I wish I had an arrow to be able to draw for you. But this red business right here, BioTrack Central System, like I said, it has a programming interface and it also has an application interface. So licensee at the bottom here, licensee number 1, we'll call them. Well, they're going to go and use this BioTrack system directly to put their data in, and they're using this BioTrack free version, they call it. It's the state portal for the grower or the processor or the retailer to put their information into the system. That information, again, is all the trees, all the inventory, and all your transactions. And then accessory data for that necessary data, right? For your trees, we got to know what variety they are, what room they're in, what section they're in your facility. Same story with the inventory. What section is it in? Product details, etc. License number 2, they might be using an alternate front end to BioTrack OpenTHC, who we are. We offer one of these alternate front ends to BioTrack. So this person would use our software. There's 100 other software providers in this space. Like on the retail side, you might be real familiar with Greenbits, which is now owned by Dutchy. So Dutchy Greenbits, big player on the retail side, probably the software brand in the cannabis space that's very customer visible. iHeartJane is one that works very similar to this, or those online menus, other online stores, other point of sale solutions, and then loads of other solutions on the supply side for the farmers. And then this one, of course, just talks to the BioTrack system with the API, not the same interface as license number 1 down here at the bottom. License number 1, we'll just put like a 1 right here, and we'll try to make a 2 right here, and we'll try to make a 3 right here. I'm drawing with my mouse, so it looks terrible. Sorry. License number 1 here is using an application to talk to BioTrack. License number 2 is using a front-end software to talk to BioTrack, and that software talks to BioTrack through the API, moving data around. License number 3, they could be using a different third-party piece of software. They could talk to BioTrack. Let's say that they're using like some other third-party brand, and they use that third-party brand. And then that one goes back and talks to BioTrack also through the API. And so this fun universe now, BioTrack has all of the fun data stuck inside there, ready to rock and roll. The government agency, the regulator, the letter G over here, the letter G, they can pull reports out of there to see how many trees you got, to see what your harvest is looking like, to see all of these interesting details about the business that they're regulating. And BioTrack is interesting. You have to connect to BioTrack in order to do anything in the system. Whether you're talking to BioTrack directly through this API here, or directly through the application, like license number 1, or if you're talking through a front end to BioTrack, like license number 2 and license number 3 right here. When you create new inventory in the system by the harvest process, or possibly by sublotting, or even processing your materials, that generates a new identifier. Unique in the cannabis space, BioTrack, the central system, is responsible for generating an ID for you. I don't know that that's really such a good idea, but it is what it is. I'm going to put the letters ID up there so we remember. BioTrack generates this ID. You need the ID to do anything. If I want to make some inventory and then sell it to somebody, my inventory's got an ID. The transaction record has an ID that's got to be recorded, and that transaction has to be entered into BioTrack. I'm trying to do a deal. Let's draw some pictures about doing a deal. Maybe yellow is the right answer. License number 1 wants to do a deal. So they have to, step 1, make sure their inventory is registered in BioTrack. Step 2, get the transfer manifest, the B2B transaction, registered in BioTrack. And then this BioTrack system, these other folks down here, perhaps are able to query that information and then see this for this license that this transaction is available. It has to get published into the central system in order for the next person in this chain to be able to do whatever it is they need to do. They need this ID. If the BioTrack system is offline, or if this connection is broken somehow, now this connection is broken, now license 1 can't really do stuff. You can do the physical changes to the material, so it's not like production is at a standstill, but you can't get the IDs for the packages that you're making. which means you can't label the packages yet. You can't put the sticker on there. So if this is something that's destined for a retailer, you're not stickering these retail ready packages yet because you don't have that lot identifier from the central system. So you're there, you'll be waiting. Uh, these systems are, I don't want to sound like a paranoid person. These systems are very reliable. These systems are not having hours and days of downtime or something like this, but they are kind of intermittent at points in time. The internet is not 100% reliable, so your connection could be down. If you're using a third-party integrator, your third-party integrator could be down, could be a broken link somewhere else on the internet for a period of time. So all of that is issues that exist in a centralized system like this, since these licensees need the central data, need the unique identifiers that only this system can generate in order to move any data around in the system. One of the other things that's sort of problematic, let's pretend, for example, that license number 3 here is a laboratory, and I'm license number 1, I suppose, in this example, who's a grower. And I would like to get a bunch of nice, interesting information on my labels about this material. When this laboratory puts their data, into the BioTrack system, and that lab data goes in, the BioTrack system only understands a very narrow scope of these lab results. It's not going to have 20 different options for putting terpenes in there. It's not going to have newly discovered cannabinoids. It's not going to be able to accommodate a whole bunch of other data sets that regulators may want to change, may become another requirement down the road. It doesn't move as fast, but it also, you can't move the COA. You can't move all the other additional data that the lab produces through the BioTrack universe. So this laboratory number 3 needs some other way. This system, the central system, doesn't carry all the data. And so how can lab number 3 move data into lab number 1? I mean, I will toot our own horn. OpenTHC is great. We have solutions for this. Tune in next week to see what happens next or something. There's another utility out there that does some stuff for laboratories right now. Also, they're called Confident Cannabis, and they produce COAs. In some circumstances, they put the sum data back into BioTrack right here. Confident Cannabis is not super dialed in with API availability, and not all of the front-end integrators right here that work with BioTrack have their mechanisms for importing data from Confident Cannabis either. Bunch of the labs have their own custom systems for producing COAs, generating output data. There's another vendor in the space that's called QBench that does this. Let's see, Bespoke Systems, Confident Cannabis, QBench. I'm sure there's others that I'm missing. My apologies, but the internet is your friend. And so here we have a central system, the government. The government gets all of their nice reports out of it. What reports are available? Harvest details are a little limited in BioTrack. There's a bunch of other relevant business data that's happening in these application layers that aren't available to a free user, or maybe even if somebody's writing their own code, well, you can make the system do almost whatever it is, that it can do. But if you're using somebody else's app or using a BT Direct, it's got a limited set of business data that's in there. Government, we can see in some other reports, which will show up later. Again, tune in next week or the week after or something. We can show these government agencies can't get all the data that they want to get out of these systems, and we'll be picking on a different system rather than picking on BioTrack. Anyways, that's it for BioTrack. I'll be doing another one coming up next, which will be talking about metric. And after that, I'm going to be talking about bespoke systems that exist in Vermont and Washington, and maybe we'll talk a little bit about the Health Canada one. Then we're going to get into talking about distributed federated systems and a bunch of other magic stuff like that. So I will see you then. Thanks.